Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We will continue reciting from Asa Mahalla Pehla. This is the 19th Ashtapadi, and the recitation is as follows. Ruro Thakur Maharo Rudi Gurbani Vade Bhag Satgur Milai Paiye Pad Nirbani मैं उलगी हम छोरू थारे ज्यों तू राखे त्यों रहा मुख नाम हमारे रहाओ दर्शन की प्यासा घनी पाने मन भाईया मेरे ठाकुर हाथ वडियाइयां पाने पत पाईया साचो दूर न जानिए अंतर है सोई जह देखा तै रव रहे किन कीमत होई आप करे आपे हरे वेखै वडियाई गुरमुख होए निहालिए यो कीमत पाई जीवन दिया लाहा मिलै गुरकार कमावै पूरब होवे लिखिया ता सतगुर पावै मनमुख तोटा नित है परमह परमाए मनमुख अंध न चेतई क्यों दर्शन पाए ता जग आया जानिए साचे लिवलाए गुर भेटे पारस भये ज्योति जोत मिलाए अहनिस रहे निरालमो कार धुर की करनी नानक नाम संतोखिया राते हर चरणी. So in this passage, Guru Nanak gives us very deep insight into how an individual can become conscious of its place in the universe. So how do I as an individual become aware of what I am? In other words, how do I validate my existence as a human being? What is the true significance of my existence? So the Guru gives us that education here. He says, in the Rahau, which is where we will start with, in the central idea, he's talking about one's place in the universe. And he says, Meh ulgeha uhulgi, a menial slave am I. Hum choru thare. Choru comes from chora, which means a young boy, an errand boy. So he says, I'm a menial slave to you. I am your errand boy. Jo tu rakhe tyon raha. I'm alive because you protect me. Or I accept the way you decide to maintain me. Mukh naam hamare jo tu rakhe tyon raha. Mukh naam hamare. Mukh means the mouth, the face. It also means to be near, to be beside me. Mukh naam hamare means your eternal wisdom abides with me. So the Guru here has established the fact that there is a master-slave relationship. That if an individual is to think of itself in terms of how do you validate your relationship? It is to voluntarily, to consciously enter into a master-slave relationship with the self, with the universe. And we will see what the implications are. So what that means is relinquish the ego, because the ego can say no. But the Guru says submit. relinquish the ego, become a slave to the universe, to the hukam of the universe, do its bidding. This is commitment to a larger cause. You see where the Guru was going with this. And then he says, Ruro Thakur Maharo, Rudi Guru Bani. Ruro, beautiful. Beautiful is my master. Rudi Guru Bani, beautiful is its speech, communication, language. And he in fact says, Vade Pag, if your destiny is great, Satgur Mila, you will be attracted, drawn to the Satgur, to the enlightener. Paya Pad Nirbani. Now this term Nirban comes from the Buddhist idea of nirvana, but this is a state of the mind which equals sahaj, if you will. This is a state of consciousness. So that is where we want to go. And he speaks of this state of consciousness in terms of darshan. Darshan ki pyasa ghani paane man paiya. Mere Thakur haath vadiyaiyan paane pat paiya. Darshan ki pyasa ghani. Intense is my yearning for the vision. Paane man paiya. At your pleasure, the mind receives it. The vision comes. It is grace. Mere Thakur haath vadiyaiyan. My master's hand holds all the gifts. In other words, it reigns the universe. At its will, we receive our dignity. Vadiyaiyan, paane, pat paiye, we receive our dignity. In other words, we become truly human. Darshan, which literally means to see, also means philosophy. Guruji here speaks of darshan as a vision, a state of consciousness, of absolute perfection, cosmic consciousness, if you will, of oneness. And this realization of this consciousness is an inward transmutation to which this vision will impel the seeker, in order that the seeker may become, to some extent at least, worthy of that vision, worthy of being a slave to the universe. And then there are other ideas that support this central message. The first one here is Sacho dur na janiye, the true one, don't seek it afar. Antar hai soi, it's within. Jeh dekha te rav rahe, kin keemat hoi, its brilliance shines wherever I look. Aap kare aape hare, vekhe vadiyai. Gurmukh hoye nihaliya, yo keemat pai. So in the previous verse, he said, Kin keemat hoi. How do you actually estimate its worth? You can't. The Guru says you estimate its worth only when you become Guru-facing, when you lose your ego, you become faceless. Aap kare, aape hare, vekhe vadiyai. So the self creates and the self takes away, and it watches its play, its greatness. So see it through the lens of the Gur. Gurmukh hoye nihaliya, yo keemat pai, and then you will realize the value. Jeevan deyan laha mila, gur kar kamave, purab hove likhya ta satgur pave. So even attracting the Satgur is a matter of motivation. Jeevan deya laha mile. Profitable are the Gur's teachings if followed. Gur ki kar kamave. But to do that, you have to have motivation. Purab hove likhya ta Satgur pave. If you're so destined, which means if you're so motivated, then the Satgur is found. And now he reverts, as is customary in the way Gurmat is explained, to our current state, to the manmukh, the ego-centered mind. What of it? The Guru says, manmukh tota nitta hai, tota always falls short. The egocentric manmukh is ever at a loss. Manmukh tota nitta hai, all the time. He's always falling short of the goal. Parameh paramaye, wandering aimlessly. Manmukh and na chetai, the manmukh and is blind. Na chetai kyu darsan paye, it's blind to its possibilities. How can it secure the vision? Then the Guru says, your coming into this world is going to be gauged as successful if you actually bring about that union with the self. Ta jag aya janiye, ta jag aya janiye, sache live a lie. If you're centered in that self, consider yourself successful. That means you've integrated mind, body, and soul. Gur pete paras bhai jyoti jyot milai. The Guru is like the philosopher's stone that transmutes baser metals into gold. So the baser metal here is the manmukh state of mind, psychological lead, if you will, and through the Gur, it turns into gold, spiritual gold, light, and then jyoti jyotamile. It unites, it becomes one. In other words, it loses its ego identity. So how do you go about living? Remain non-attached amidst the hustle of the world. Kar turki karni, work for the bigger cause. Turki karni, from what has been initiated from the very beginning, the word. Become a co-creator with the word, with the sabad. Nanak naam santokhiya rate har charani. Self-knowledge is the panacea for contentment. So there is a lot to be said here for how to live life. Becoming a slave to the self means becoming a slave to a larger cause, which is becoming a slave to hukam, the evolutionary impulse of existence. That is to say, you have to cultivate yourself, you have to develop the capacity through the Satgur to access, to be able to discern self-knowledge. And that will give you the necessary code, the necessary signals on which way the flow of the current is. And this is not cognitive, this is experiential. So to put it in very simple terms, what it means is if you want to be a successful life, devote yourself to a cause larger than yourself, your petty ego, and do it in all humility. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.